Welcome back everyone. Now we are going to learn about the wattmeter. Well, when I was a small kid, I used to learn the technologies and that made me engineer in the future self, and that was a major reason I learned so many of the technologies in my childhood self. So one of the most fascinating thing that I have found was steam engines. Well, you can call me old model because we have diesel engines, we have petrol engines, we have electrical vehicles these days. But surely I started my journey with the steam engine, and that was something that I made myself. So I am a little bit of proud of because I spent so much time making that. So why I'm telling you that story? Because steam engines revolution came only after James Watt, who gave us the unit of power. And that power's formula is very simple: work divided by time. What he basically has done is to convert that steam into more powerful because of the pressuring waves that we have, which was going to get wasted so many times from the boiler. So he made in all in such a prescribed way that it increased the efficiency a lot, and it revolutionized the industry of automobiles and also the steam engines, one of my favorite thing. Well, if you look closely in the diesel engine, petrol engine, or even in the mechanical motors, you will find a relating factor with the watt meter. Well, now of course we are not going to learn the mechanical area. I just told you to get excited so that you can learn that in more exciting way. But now our work is to learn about the energy meter. Energy meter and watt meter are pretty much the same thing. So we are going to learn about the energy meter. So what energy meter we are talking about? Well, that meter that gives you the bill every month of your electricity that you call electric bill. Well, that one. Yeah, right, that one. So there are two kinds of the electric meters. First was the analog one, and second one is the digital one. So we are going to learn the analog one. Well, why the analog one? We are learning the digital electronics. So why we are learning the analog electronics? Well, we are learning the analog to understand that what are the system and what are the system requirements that will going to get converted into digital instrument, and that's all we learn. But this going to require a small piece of the ICs and all that, so that will be a little complex but doing the same thing. That's why we're learning the analog and we will convert that into a digital one in later one. Okay, I hope you will be able to understand the digital thing in this one. Relatively, I assume so. So let's begin building our energy meter. Well, are you getting excited? I'm also going to tell you about the hack that people used to have in old days when they want to decrease their electricity bill. Well, that was not legal technically, but I can tell you because most part of the worlds are using nowadays the digital meter, so we can learn that hack either. Energy meter, well, this hack is for the educational purpose only, and you can experiment with that wherever it is legally available. Well, that was kind of the question that I have to say. Even for the formality basis, I have to believe that. Okay. So, what is the energy meter? Energy meter, what do you think your energy meter actually shows? Well, it can be of this shape or maybe this shape. I will add few photos here if possible of all the instrument that we have studied. So don't worry about that. Okay. So what I'm making right now, I don't know. Let's open a new page. Okay. Let me remove that all the things. So what do you think the energy meter actually do? Hmm, pretty much interesting. What the energy meter actually do? Well, it bound us to pay the bill. Well, what else? Energy meter actually calculates the reading. Well, now you are getting the point. It is calculating the reading, or it is taking the reading of the energy you are consuming, or the power, you can say energy or power you consume. Well, I can say energy in the form of electrical energy we are talking about here. Obviously, electrical power, electrical energy that we consume as a consumer. Well, I think you understand my spelling. Consumer. Now that's better. Okay, so excuse me. Now, uh, what the energy meter actually do and how it works? Well, there is a electrical pole tower. Well, we have all seen that there is a big transformer sometimes lying there, and the wire, maybe underground or overground, doesn't matter, comes to our home to first the electric meter, and that electric meter will going to give us the electricity everywhere we require actually in the panel form. So we can use the devices. Well, generally two or maybe sometimes three or maybe even more. We can just plug it in our TV or in our cell phone, or when you do other such things and all that, and you can enjoy the things. Well, I made it like a toaster. What's it? This is the bread. Okay, so we are going to learn this journey, that how actually and what actually happens in that. So this is electrical pole, and this is a transformer, as I said, that helps to transform the electricity so that it can go more further without getting diluted or reduced. Okay, so the current is coming through this way. Now this is our instrument, which is energy meter. So we are going to see that what happens when the current comes and goes out. Well, that's all it. Current comes and current goes out, and in between it reads. That's how it's working. So now we are going to see that how energy meter is working. Let's open a new page. So what actually energy meter do? Let's go inside of it and let's learn some basics, of course. Well, there is a disc and a spindle in which it is able to revolve. Remember, I said rotate. No, I said revolve, but it's rotate. It's rotate on its axis. So how it's gonna rotate? Well, the matter of the fact is, when the current comes, it goes and comes from this point and just goes outside. We made a mechanism, sometimes gear or sometimes pretty much simple, or whichever way you like to call it. It produces torque. So torque is a angular force. Well, if you want to know it, just switch on the fan. That's it. When you switch on the fan, what actually happens? There is a coil inside of the fan, and when you switch on, the current goes in, and the coil means there are the permanent magnet north and south, and this is the coiled up thing. This is the copper coil or sometimes aluminum coil, but generally copper coils are required and maybe preferred also. So these are the copper coils, and because of the current, the north repel each other, south repel each other, and these all the things happen. The electricity comes and the electricity or the electron goes. This all the cycle happens. So that produces the angular force that helps us to make our fan rotate. So this simple thing changed or revolutionized the entire thing, because this simple concept of the disk that I just made is going to work in such a way that it records whenever one revolution or one rotation. I am just calling again and again revolution, but don't care about that. It all means about the rotation, means it's not going anywhere, it is moving its own axis, that we have to remember. So one rotation is one unit itself. Well, that's a notation I use. Generally it's used according to the meter and its calibrated form that we get in all around the world, because we are learning from so many parts of the world. So we are focusing on the technology. These units are can be set as a man-made factor, so we can manipulate that, obviously. Okay, so that rotates, and that rotation shows us the reading like 0, 1, 2, 3, and that 4 is going and that 5 is coming on. Well, I hope you have seen that in your odometer, speedometer kind of thing. If you are driving, if you're not, you still have seen that. So in the odometer in the vehicle, that tells us about the distance, or in the speedometer, just that tells us about the speed. We generally have this small thing. The entire thing is like this, in which we measure our things like odometer, speedometer type. Now this is going through because of the rotation of the wheels, and in this case because of the rotation of this disc, and that records the bill. Well, exactly, that's the unit which we call the power unit that we have. So that much power we have consumed. Like if we use the 5 units, it's actually means 5 kilowatt hour. Well, what's kilowatt hour? 5000 watt? No, it's relatable, right? So the kilo is for the thousand, watt is for the power, and hour is, well, 1 hour, as we know, 60 minutes. This is the thing. Well, on the general basis, let me tell you that what's 1 kilowatt hour, so that you understand the things a little better way. It is 3600 multiply 1000, or joule, or you can also say that 3.6 into 10 to the power 6 joules or energy is equivalent to 1 kilowatt hour, or the power that we consume per hour. Well, where this 3600 came from? This is the kilo thing that we have seen right here. Okay, the path is a little disturbing. Okay, so where the 3600 came? 60 minutes into 60 seconds. That for 1 hour, right? So now we have it in seconds, and 60 multiply 60 going to give us 3600, and 3600 multiply 1000 will going to give us 3 6 and 5 zeros. So I used the standard form, and this is going to give us the energy. Well, if we use this much big numbers all the times in our bill for just 1 kilowatt hour or just 1 unit, well, people will get insanely confused with that. So for the general sake, we made a commercial unit that is called as kilowatt hour, kws, that is used worldwide, and that gives us a little ease. Like if I say 5 volt or 5 units you have consumed in a day, well, it's pretty much less. But imagine if I say that you have consumed 5 multiply 3600 multiply 1000 joules of energy. Well, you will get shockingly dead. That what are you saying? I have used lakhs of energy? How? It will give you a headache. So for the ease, we made it in such a way. Well, I hope in this entire story you have figured out one thing, obviously, that even the energy meter is depending upon the fundamental principles of the galvanometer itself. Like here that I have made, if you can see this part clearly, I am highlighting it with my white color that I can possibly do. Well, this one, this is similar. Well, I was talking about the fan, relating the meter, but using the galvanometer. So don't get confused. These all the things are working on the pretty much same principle. So we are using that galvanometer in a lot more exciting ways, and that's why it was revolutionary. So we have learned about all the instruments that we have decided to do. Like in here, let's put some ticks. and I'm going to excite you that how much far you came from your beginning. Okay, so we have covered the galvanometer, we have covered the voltmeter, we have covered the ammeter, we have covered the energy meter. Now, what is the multimeter? Well, we have not talked about this one. So, is it left? Well, no, not technically, it's not left. It is 1 meter like this, and there are the places that you can move. There are two wires to measure two sides of it, something like this. I'm trying to make it as real as possible. I will also add the image of it so that you can see the thing, but for now I think it'll work fine. If you see that in the real life, you will able to recognize that. I hope so. My drawing is not that much bad as I used to say. Okay, so we can measure the voltage, we can measure the ammeter, we can work as the galvanometer, we can work as the wattmeter if you have the advanced one. Generally, this is not the case that is given. We can measure the resistance also, that we are not talked about, but we can measure the resistance also. And here it shows the reading like voltage 0, let's say 0.01. So this is how it reads all the things when you put that in a particular circuit that you are measuring. So this is the circuit and this is the multimeter. As the name says, multi means doing multiple things or more than one things, and multimeter means doing or understanding or making it for the multiple things. Like we can measure with one device, we can have voltage and current and the value of the resistance, and maybe sometimes even more features are given so that we can learn more things. So this is all about the multimeter. So if you know about rest of the things, you can fit everything into one thing, and that is called as multimeter. Now, are you excited right now? Now you are getting the point. I hope that why the galvanometer was so interesting, because the concept of the galvanometer is used in making the multimeter that can do work for everything that we have learned. So that was the fantastic engineering. So congratulations my dear friend, you have just engineered all the instrument and I am very happy for you, clapping myself. And I am very excited to share with you that now we are ready to learn about the machines. So we are going to learn about the machines. So are you interested in learning the machines? Well, I am interested in learning the machines after this all the things. So we're going to start the machines in the next one. Till that time, take care, God bless, revise well, and namaste.